SongSurgeon cPods are finally here. Whether you are a customer and own the standard or pro version, or whether you are simply a demo user, you'll be able to create cPods, which adds a degree of portability and flexibility not found in any other slowdown type of software. Perhaps the most descriptive way of explaining cPods is to say that anyone with a Windows computer, even if they don't have SongSurgeon installed, will now be able to use a single instance of SongSurgeon on their machines. Examples of SongSurgeon cPod uses include a teacher or instructor creating a music lesson in a cPod to distribute to students in his class, a band member creating a cPod for distribution to bandmates to help them learn new material, a songwriter-composer distributing a song in progress to a collaborator, a musician creating a cPod of a song to send to a transcriber, a dancer creating a cPod of practice music to send to a partner. The potential uses are limited only by your imagination. In the future, we also envision a cPod sharing website where creators of cPods can upload and share them. But that's getting ahead of ourselves, so stay tuned. Before we shift gears and I show you how to use cPods and how to create cPods, let's briefly talk about their availability. Since cPods are a totally new concept, not included and not anticipated when we build and launched version 3, we will be allowing all of our version 3 customers to make use of this functionality at no cost for a period of time. The current thinking is that this will be 3 to 4 months, but this hasn't been finalized. At some points, we will begin charging for the use of the cPod functionality. Of course, no one will be obligated to purchase this service, so if you don't, rest assured that your version of SongSurgeon will continue to work as it always has. So now, on to cPods. Let me show you how they work and how to create cPods in this new build. Okay. How do you create a cPod? Well, step one in the process should be familiar to anyone who's a SongSurgeon user, and that is simply that you're going to open a file and you're going to set markers, set loop points, do whatever you would need to do or want to do to this file that you're going to be then sending to someone else. So as you can see, I have a sample open on my screen. Now, perhaps the most important point to understand, if you already don't, is that whatever file you open, whatever song or music or whatever it is that you open, that will be the subject of the cPod. The person who receives the cPod will not be able to change that audio file. What they will be able to change are the loop points and the speed and the tempo and these other things, but the music that's embedded in this, or the audio file that's embedded in it, is not going to be something that they can change. So obviously, whatever you choose and send to someone else, when they open up that single instance of SongSurgeon, that is the audio file that they will be working with. So keep that in mind. Step two is, once you've created whatever the lesson is or tutorial or whatever it is that is the subject of the cPod, you need to save it, and you need to save it as a SongSurgeon project file or an SSP file. I'm going to call this cPod test 1. Click save. It's saved it. Now once it's saved, then I go to export. I select publish cPod to the cloud. And once I do that, it invokes a Windows dialog box here showing me that it's saving it as an MP3, and that is the format that we use for saving. The only thing I would suggest here is that amongst these choices you select something besides 320, because that's the highest bitrate setting. It's going to give you the largest file size. Most people can't tell a difference in the bitrate setting or the quality setting until you get down well below even 160. I'm going to select 192, which is sort of what I do on a standard basis. Click OK. And it's going to prepare the files for the cPod builder. It then opens this first screen and allows us to customize it a little bit. Up here it shows us the project source file path. Now this is the file path to the cPod name, or the project name that we've just given it, cPod test 1. there's really no reason for you to overwrite this or change this if you want to create a cPod from what you have open on the screen. The only situation I can see is that if you changed your mind all of a sudden and have something else stored on your hard drive as an SSP file or a SongSurgeon project file that you want to grab, then you could click this box, or this little button I should say, browse your file structure and select a different SongSurgeon project file. But unless that is the case, you should just leave this alone, and you're going to end up then creating a cPod from what you already have open on the screen. The next thing is you just type your name in here or whatever handle you go by. And lastly, you can type some comments in here. I'm going to leave the comments that are currently in here just as an example. And then we click next, and it starts this process of building a cPod. And this takes a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds or so. It doesn't take a long time, and it will depend to some extent upon the speed of your computer, but I think regardless it will not take too long. Then it pops up here, step 2. Step 2 says you're about to publish to the cloud. Your new cPod is now ready for uploading. Tells you some of the things that we do with the cPod, like digitally signing it and virus scanning it and some of these things. You can read those on your own. I'm going to click next here at the bottom, and it starts the process of uploading the cPod, and as you can see it's doing that right now. In other words, it's uploading it from your computer to our server. And once it's done, it just tells you, congratulations, you have uploaded this cPod to the cloud, and it automatically copies this link to your clipboard so you have it. And now once you have this link, you can send this to anyone. And once they have this link, then they will be able to download the cPod that you've created. So I'm going to click Finish. I'm going to close SongSurgeon here completely. I'm going to open Firefox. I'm going to paste that cPod link in. There it is. I'm going to start the process of downloading it. In other words, we're going to replicate what someone on the other end would do. I'm going to save the file, and it's downloading it right now in Firefox. It says the download is finished. Here it is. We're going to double click it. It's giving us some warning message here, which is a standard Windows warning message that this is an executable file. Do you really want to open it? Select OK. And then it starts to unpack this cPod that you've created. And the first screen that it shows is that customizing screen that we saw when we were creating it, which is your name and whatever comments you have here. It also tells them the date that it was created, tells them the name of the SongSurgeon project file. So if you've received this from someone, this is the first screen that you see. You click OK, and then it goes about its business of opening this cPod on your machine. And I'm going to maximize this. As soon as it opens, there it is. So it might look a little more familiar, meaning that last time we had it maximized on our screen. So here it is. Here's exactly the same thing that we started with and was the subject of the cPod. So now this particular user who's received it can change pitch, can change tempo, can change and add and insert markers. They can do many of the functionalities normally found in SongSurgeon, but not all of them. For example, if we try to export, what do we see? This feature is not available in cPods. So basically what it's saying is it's not going to allow this cPod user, a user for instance who does not have SongSurgeon on their computer at all, to save any of the changes to this. So that's one thing. If we click the edit button, for example, it's going to let you do a little bit of editing here, but once you've edited things, it's not going to let you export them. If you click the sniffer, it tells you this feature is not available in cPods. So although there are these limitations, the point is that it lets someone who does not have SongSurgeon on their machine be able to use this audio file, this music, this song that you've sent them, and change pitch, change tempo, change the key, set loop points, really practice and learn this lesson, this song, this whatever you've sent them, even though they don't have SongSurgeon. So it increases the flexibility that you have in using SongSurgeon and sharing music files, lessons, things that you have on your machine with others who don't have SongSurgeon. So we hope you're as excited about this as we are. We really think it has a bright future. And as we said earlier, we think the uses are really limited to your imagination. And I'm sure as the days and weeks and months go by, we're going to hear from people who found some really interesting uses for cPods. And as we learn about those, we'll certainly be sharing those with you. So we thank you for your time today, and we'll look forward to talking with you again in the future.